What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Jack Ramsays. Danny Marang, no Brandon Sprague because I killed him and threw him off a cliff. I don't know where Brandon's at. He can't make it because he's out coaching right now, the girls. I am joined by special guest of the Portland Trailblazers, Trendon Watford, fresh off of a contributing combined 77 points last night with Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
In a defeat of the Houston Rockets down in the Bay right now, getting ready to take on the Golden State Warriors tomorrow. Trent, man, thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me. Appreciate it.
I wanted to bring you on because I'm a nerd and you do some stuff on the basketball court that I find incredibly unique and different and want to talk about that. But I want to, first of all, kind of like introduce you and get people to kind of know who you are. And it's for me, like every game I come to, I always find it really interesting, the dynamic of the locker room, because the way the locker room is set up now, we had a few changes. Dame's on one side, Ant's on the other, but kind of in the middle, in between, is you and Nas on each side, and I feel like you guys are kind of like the driving force of conversations in the locker room. No matter what it is, both you guys have thoughts, you have ideas, you have opinions, kind of back and forth, and it's always engaging. It's always interesting. Is it the same way on flights and when you guys go out? Are you guys kind of the driving force of all that?
Yeah. Honestly, definitely me and Nas. Like, for some reason, everything I say, Nas just thinks is hilarious. So, like, anytime we're having a conversation about something, and I might say something a little funny, he's just Nas laughing. And but I think, definitely on both sides of the locker room, we're definitely two ones that get conversation started though.
It's funny because it gets the crosstalk going, because
Yeah.
on your side you've got Jeremy's quiet, and
Right.
on Nas's side you've got Shaden, who's incredibly quiet. But every now and then you guys get going just enough to where they start
For sure. Yeah.
getting pulled into stuff, and that's when it starts getting a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of getting to know you. Let's take a few minutes. Where are you from? How did you grow up? How did you find your way to LSU? And then we'll kind of go from your rookie year into now a little bit later.
Originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Youngest of three. I got an older brother, older sister. Pretty much just grew up, my dad worked, my mom worked, just always. And my brother played basketball. He's 10 years older than me, so I can remember going to his games when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and just just sort of fall in love with the game around then. And just pretty much I had an older sister who played volleyball, and I was pretty much an athletic family. So we was just following my brother around during his AAU, his college career, even his professional career. So that's pretty much how I was brought up around the game. And my dad worked, my mom worked, and so originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Went to high school, won 3 straight championships in high school, and
What's always funny is when talking to particularly NBA players, because basketball in general, one player can be so impactful. And I was talking to Jeremy about this last night, and I knew he was an East Coast guy, and I was like, I couldn't remember. Because I was asking around the room, like, who had seen something like what Dame did last night in the 71 points, like what had that look familiar. Well, I'll get to what you said last night, but I started asking around the room, and you won 3 state championships in high school. Jeremy, his entire starting lineup made the league at DeMatha. Like, you look around the room, Dame's kind of the one guy who came from a smaller place, even though he's from Oakland. And it's really interesting, like, particularly you younger guys with the AAU circuits and stuff that you guys run through, where the teams that you guys are on, they're just better than they were years ago. It's the way that guys kind of come together. How did you end up at in the SEC when your brother didn't?
It was just too different. I think his era of college basketball versus my era of college basketball was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, his was really like, a lot of people now go to college based on the next decision, based on the next level. And, back then it was like, he was going to a school where, Indiana's a big tradition school, and Indiana's a blue collar school, and of that nature. Indiana's had legends like Isaiah Thomas, Jared Jeffries, plenty of guys like they Victor Oladipo, Cody Zeller, like what I'm saying, there's plenty of guys that's came through there. But I pretty much my brother helped me throughout the recruiting process. I was in high school, was getting recruited by a lot of schools. Was highly touted recruited since like ninth grade. So made the McDonald's game, made the Jordan Brand game, and after that I decided, and I think my final 5 schools was like I think 3 of the 5 schools might have been in the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. I think Alabama, LSU, Indiana was in there, Memphis, and there was one more school. In there. But man, I went down to LSU and I fell in love with it. It was a guy Nas Reed, who was playing for the Timberwolves now, was there a year before me, and I pretty much knew he was leaving. And there was a lot of the guys, they had already won the SEC championship that year, the year before I got there, and a lot of guys were staying except him. So man, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the guys. I already knew the guys when I got there, so it was sort of easy. I had our relationship, and the head assistant coach Bill Armstrong was from Birmingham, Alabama. So we had a strong relationship, and that's pretty much how I ended up there.
A lot of ties to just kind of being close to home, right?
Right. Not too far from home, like probably like 5-6 hour drive, but it's still down south. My family was able to come to a lot of home games. My brother actually moved down there with me. So it was an easy transition, versus me growing up and literally getting in a car every week, riding 7-8 hours to Bloomington, Indiana. So
that's a little bit longer of a drive. Speaking of an even longer drive, what does draft night look like for you? What is your agent telling you heading into that night, and then ultimately after draft night? How does that process go for you?
It was crazy. I had went through all my workouts. I think I worked out for maybe 12 teams. I think I maybe worked out for 12 teams. And I did pretty good in my workouts. Like I was killing in my workouts up to draft day. And my agent was telling me San Antonio is looking at you, or OKC is looking at you, and I forgot who else was it. Maybe Atlanta's looking at you for early second round pick. I pretty much knew I wasn't going first, so it was okay, early second. Now I'm here mid second, and then it was just crazy, just up and down. I was hearing things throughout the draft, and the draft came, and I was nervous because I didn't know, so it was just all right, we better dive into it. Let's see what happens. And what I'm saying, for when I drafted, and as soon as, not even before the draft was over, I had a chance to take the 59th pick to Brooklyn, and it just wasn't a good deal. It wasn't a good deal. So at first I was like, yeah, I want to take it. I just wanted to hear my name called like any other kid who grows up. That's been my dream since I picked up a basketball, get drafted. What I'm saying, just hear my name called, and my brother and my agent was like, man, I don't think that's the best. I don't think that's the best deal. 59, you might as well just go undrafted. So when I drafted, and before the draft was even over, Chauncey called my phone. He had just got the job there, and from there, the rest is history.
What's that like for you when you get that phone call and it's Chauncey?
Man, it was big time. I remember just answering the phone. He was like, "What's up, young fella? It's Chauncey Billups." And I was like, "Oh, damn, I sort of forgot." Because when my agent told me Portland's offering you a two-way, I really didn't remember.
Didn't put that together.
Who was the coach yet? Yeah, because I knew they was going through a coaching change. But he called me, and I just remember I was like, "Thank you." I was really emotional. I was like, "Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I won't let you down. You won't regret it." And we still talk about it to this day. So,
how do you go from? And I know the organizational changes with Neil being dismissed and how things went post Dame surgery and CJ being traded opened up those opportunities for you. But with that in mind, how do you go from undrafted to 5-6 months later being a guy who's can show everything that you've done so far? What changes for you from summer league that year to getting your two-way converted?
I always knew that I was capable of being able to show that I belong. And it was just a matter of time when I got my opportunity. It was just a matter of time. Like I knew, like, because when we got back from summer league after my first year, we were going through like workouts, going through pickup and stuff, and I'm like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can see myself. Like I didn't have to prove anything. I just had to prove it to myself. Like, all right, like, I know I belong. I put in the work to get here. So now it was just a matter of fact of, just waiting on my opportunity, just getting better every day and just locking in on that. And I think that's just what I did. And when the opportunity came around, like injuries, we were going through a big trade, we were losing. So it was like, all right, so coach was just trying different things. It was Chauncey's first year, it was my first year, and he gave me a shot, and I just took it and ran with it. And that none of that surprised me. Like, I knew that I was capable. I knew that I had worked hard enough to get there. So yeah, man, I just knew, like, once I got around better players, like good players in the league, I knew my IQ and my feel for the game would separate me from a lot of players that got drafted. And it's just things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, like, because I'm not the most athletic guy, and I'm not jumping on the rim, I'm not getting dunks, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But I know my IQ and my feel for the game, it was going to help me at this level more than it did at college.
Have you and Jabari Walker talked about your guys' experience as far as the draft goes, as far as being at the back end of the draft and undrafted, and kind of knowing who you guys are?
Not really. He was still able to hear his name called. Like, Jabari was still able to hear his name called. So you can't relate. Like, you just can't relate. Whether you get drafted 59th, 60th, it's a different feeling of when you look on that TV and you don't see your name called. So it's a little different. But no, we hadn't talked about it.
It's funny. You know what he told me is that he remembers everybody's name who was drafted in front of him, not because he remembers everybody's name. He just knows he needs to remember the one guy behind him.
Right.
It was just the one guy behind him. That's the only name he needs to remember. Everybody else is who went in front of him in that draft class. So, Dame said something, I want to say 2 weeks ago, about you. That was, he said it with a smile and he meant it as a compliment. He said when you came in as a rookie, you were the kind of guy that thought you were better than you actually were, but that it worked in your favor because you grew into that guy. Do you feel like that's kind of how you had to show as an undrafted guy, as a two-way guy, that you had to come in with that kind of confidence to go, yeah, no, I belong here?
Yeah, like I told you, like I knew I belonged. Like, even with the team that we had last year, like, I'm like, okay, like, he can't do, like, you know what I'm saying? He can't do some of the things that I would do. Like, I could just, just watching the games. Like I said, I was in street clothes for like the first 28, 27 games. So I was able to really learn a lot and really able to watch the NBA game. And I'm like, okay, like, when I get in, I'm gonna do this. Like, if I ever get my opportunity, like, I'm gonna do this. Like, but even prior to that, like, when we got there in August, like, you know what I'm saying? I just sort of walk around with that. Like, it's just like my confidence is not cocky anyway. It's just like my confidence. And, I think, like, to really stick in the league and to really show you belong, to really prove that you belong, you just got to have that with you. And, being an undrafted guy that got here on the two-way, I tell people, like, when I first got there on the two-way, I just felt like I sort of felt like a glorified, like, walk on, like, to an extent, like. But I just sort of, I always put in the work. I put in the work, and then I just believed in myself. Like, all right, like I know I belong, and I know this won't be too long with me on this contract.
Walk me through that moment when Joe converts your deal from a two-way to a full contract.
Well, just rewind a little bit. It was right before All-Star break, and we had went on like a little 4-game winning streak. Like
the 4 games, that was at Memphis, Milwaukee, and then
Memphis, Milwaukee.
There's 2 before that.
Can't remember the 2 before that.
But those are the 2 fun ones.
It was good. And I just remember, like, I was playing good. Like, everybody on Twitter was like, all right, we got to get Watford. Like, we got to sign this guy. Like, all the fans. Like, I had one of the fans over. I had one of the fans over about just doing little stuff like on the court. Like, so I didn't know if it was coming soon, but I just remember after the Memphis game, and I tell this story a lot. After the Memphis game, we won. I did okay. I did pretty good. That was when Ant hit the big shot and we won and we went in the All-Star break like maybe like 10th place or 11th place, but we were in a good spot. My brother after the game, he was just like, he kept rushing me. He kept calling my phone, and he never does this. He kept rushing me, kept calling my phone and come on, man, we got to go. Cause I got in the car and drove from Memphis to Birmingham, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like
because the All-Star break, you can just get up and go.
I went home after the game, so it was like 3.5, 4 hour drive. So he's calling my phone. He's like, "Come on, I'm going." So I go back out. I go out there, talk to my fam. He's like, "Man, come on, like we gotta hit the road, like yada yada." And I just remember, I'm like, he don't ever rush me like this. Like it's, I don't know, it's something up. So we got in the car. Boom, got in the car outside FedEx Forum, and he called Joe, my agent. He like called my agent Joe, not Joe Cronin.
Mm-hmm.
Call Joe. So my agent told me, and it was just like an emotional moment. Me and him and another one of my boys in the back seat, we just all like sort of like broke down and really couldn't believe it. Like it was just crazy. It was just sort of like a surreal feeling. Like yeah, I did it. Like yeah, like I told everybody I was gonna do this. Like I told because I had never been at that point. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I had never been at that point in my career to where I was at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Because you were always up here. You McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand game.
In high school, yeah. I was recruited high. Like I was McDonald's, mm-hmm. Like you know what I'm saying, 5-star, all that. But so like I was like, all right, like yeah, like so even after the draft, I'm telling my brother, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get this shit done. Like we're gonna do this shit. Like we're gonna get it done. So it was just all like all good to see it come full circle and the news actually didn't come out till like 3 days later. 3 or 4 days later, right before I got back to Portland, the news came out, and I just texted Joe and was like, "Appreciate you." Like, trying to see, I told you I'm gonna let you down. Like, I got you. Like, appreciate it, and went from there.
That's awesome, man. Because it's like you said, it's a different thing for you because you were at the top of everything, and you kind of had to reset and work your way back. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think, at least for me in watching your game, is that the thing that helped you stand out for me is something that has become again, talking to Dame about this. It was, I would believe it was when you had the podium game a couple weeks ago. Dame came up before you, he came in after you. But one of the things we mentioned is he called you a kind of Draymond light in your ability to work in the pick and roll. And there's, to me, the evolution of the NBA over the last 10, 20 years is everyone can shoot.
Right.
It's not hard to find shooting now. Mm-hmm. Now the market inefficiency is playmaking. Mm-hmm. And playmaking with size. Mm-hmm. Guards can all handle across the league. There's just a lot of guys that can handle and create different levels. But when you get over 6'5", 6'6", trying to find guys who can create, there's so few. Somebody in the room asked Dame to kind of name off guys like you. And he's like, him, Draymond, Aaron Gordon, like there's some guys that can work in that short roll situation. Gary was one of the other guys. Peyton II was another guy he talked about. Just guys in general that work well 4-on-3, but it's a short list.
Yeah.
How did you get to that spot of understanding how to work on 4-on-3s?
Man, like I said, it really just rewinds to like just my IQ and feel. Like even when I was growing up, my dad was my coach, and he never. It was him, or he was always my coach. And even if he was working or something, he would, and another coach would be coaching me that game, or he would never let the coach like put me in the post. Like he would never let the coach just stick me in the post because I was bigger than everybody. But he would never let him do that. Or I just wouldn't play. And so that really allowed me to get my guard skills, like to being able to handle, being able to make decisions, being able to read a defense. Like I was taught that at a young age. So when I grew up, it was like I just kept doing it. I kept doing it, and I was able to be big. I was able to be my height, 6'9", and be able to handle, be able to pass. You know what I'm saying? Be able to see the open man on the backside, see the defense, see how the defense, see where the low man staggered from, see if I got a lob. So stuff like that really comes second nature. Like that's really the basis, and like one of the most comfortable things that I can do is like play make. Like I know, all right, maybe if I'm not making shots one night, or if I'm not, you know what I'm saying, if I'm in foul trouble or anything, like I know one thing I can do, like if Dame's getting trapped or Ant's getting trapped or whatever it may be, I can catch the ball and make a play on the backside, and you know, just from there it's just 4-on-3, so we can get a good shot.
As good as that is for you, for like to have that natural feel, to have that natural IQ, to develop looking at the floor as opposed to your back to the floor in the post where you're above everything and looking down. What's the difference in operating in high school and operating in college versus operating in the NBA? Because the thing that everybody that I've talked to over the years, it's the speed of the game, it's the little things. And when I first asked you about this, the first thing you said is you watched a lot of Draymond tape.
Yeah.
When you're watching Dre on film, what are the little things that you're watching for? Because it's again, when I watch film, I see a little shoulder wiggle, a little dip here, a little shake there. It's not crazy, but it's little tiny things that sell one thing one way or another that allow you to open up. So when you're watching Bam, you're watching Dre, you're watching any of these guys work in those kind of situations, what are you looking for? What are you kind of looking to take from them and put your own kind of spin on?
My thing was just like I'll look at, you know, their pace, like how fast they're going. Like Draymond, he switches his pace a lot. You know, he sometimes he goes in and dribble handoffs. Sometimes he goes in and dribble hands off very fast. Or if he's about to do a dribble handoff key, he sets it up. He sets it up to the perfect point to where the defense bites and think he's actually handing it off, or thinks he's about to dribble into a handoff, and he keeps it. And you know, he goes from the other side. But you know, another guy that I watched that I was watching even just throughout my college career, and even last year, was Kyle Anderson. Like I watch a lot of stuff.
Slow-mo. There you go.
I watch a lot of stuff that he does off the dribble, like even when he's at point. Like Chauncey put me at point the game. Mm-hmm. Which game did we just lose? Sank. He put me at point.
When you guys are shorthanded, yeah.
Right. Even last year, like he allowed me to have the ball in my hand. Like, and I always tell him, it's funny, like when I first got here, I don't know if he really knew about my game as much, like, because he was really like,
did you have to show him the handle? Show him it was legit?
I had to sort of show it to him. Like I had to show him that I can get the ball out there. I can get the ball off the rim and push. Like I watch things like that on film, like how, but stuff like that is just really like my IQ, my feel, and just being able to see the court, and you know, just knowing I got good guys around me, man, I can make plays, and Dame allows me to make plays for myself. Like even when I got the charge last night, when he had like 41 in the first half. I got a charge right before the half ended, and I was like, damn, my bad, bro. And he was like, nah, like be aggressive, and you know, just sort of hearing that from him, you know, I know and that, you know, that's a guy that scored 71, so I know, you know what I'm saying, he believes in me, and that's just, you know, my confidence is up. So
what's that like for you when you're running DHOs and you're running pick and rolls with a guy like Dame, or even a guy like Ant? Like when guys that defenses in the NBA are they're terrified of. Like what is to have their support and their belief and their like they trust you to make the right plays and right reads. Like what does that do for you?
Man, like it you know what I'm saying, it makes my job easy. Like you know what I'm saying, I know if Name believes in me, that Ant believes in me, then you know all the thing I do is got to go out there and do it. And you know, with my IQ, my field, like with the coach's trust, you know, I know if Dame trusts me, if he gets two on him, like he trusts the pass, he trusts to hit it to me in the pocket or hit it to me on the pop, and I drive, and now it's just making plays at that point. And you know, we got good enough players around us to make wide open shots, even contested shots. So yeah, when I'm in that position, you know, I just think about, you know, if I don't have my floater, if I don't have a layup, all right, now then I know somebody's stepping up, and I can pass to the weak side and, you know, go from there. And but yeah, it just, you know, it puts all the confidence in me, and you know, just it's always good to, you know, have one of the best players that ever played the game believe in you. So
this is from my co-host. We were talking the other day about changes that could potentially come during this summer with this team, and he said, you know, I know this is sound a little crazy because Trendon's so young, but I labeled him untouchable. He called you untouchable in a trade because we were talking about Mikhail and being traded for Kevin Durant, and how Mikhail's been like, listen, I got traded for Kevin Durant. It's okay. That
Right.
understanding, right?
Yeah.
But he labeled you untouchable because of the growth that so much growth that you've shown in such a short period. What do you think that's about you and the organization and the guys around you right now? Is it just opportunity? Is it opportunity in being in the right plot in the right place? Like, what is it that is in such a short time? Because growth in the NBA is not linear. There's ups and downs and everything else that kind of goes with it. And I want to call out your shooting, because you and I have talked about that over the season. You went from a guy who didn't shoot to you're shooting 40% from three. You're in the games that you played, you're basically taking and making one a game now. Like, what is it about you and your game that has allowed for so much growth in such a short period of time?
I would just say, like I said, like having that trust in me, like having that trust from guys like Dame, from Chauncey, like Dame has texted me at 3 a.m, 2 a.m. Like, this is before the season's even started. Like you could really be an X factor to this team. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could really help us. Like, stay locked in, keep working on your jumper, keep working on your skills, like keep working on ball handling, keep working on playmaking. And that's just stuff I've always been able to do. Like, even if you go back and watch me in college, like the way I was scoring and the way I was playmaking, it's the same stuff I'm doing now. Like, it's the same stuff that I'm able to do. And I just think, just saying, just having that belief. Like, I had to get the coach's trust first, and then I had to get, I had to get Dame's and the veterans trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and once I got that, it was just a matter of fact of, if I get my opportunity. And like, I think that's allowed me to be able to succeed and look like I belong in the league. So yeah.
You got 22 games remaining, and then you got, hopefully for you guys, playoffs, and then into this summer, and to cap off the first 2 years of your career. What do you take into this rest of the season and into this off season? Like, when you sit down with whoever you work with in the off season, when you talk to your agent, when you talk to your trainers, like, what are the things that you want to focus on and come back? Because the thing that I've noticed, particularly year 3 and year 4. Those seem to be the biggest growth years for most players in the NBA. The first year, it's kind of like wide-eyed and like, okay, I got to kind of get used to this. Year 2, you start seeing some stuff. Year 3, year 4, that's when the big kind of jumps come.
Yeah.
For you, when you're going into this, what do you want to work on? What do you hope to take out of it?
Like I would say, like, since I play a lot of multiple positions, like I may play the 5, 30 minutes one night, or I may play the 4 one night. I think I'm not the biggest, so I think, just working on my body, like working and getting stronger, and just keep improving and doing what I'm doing every day. Like you said, like, I've shot the 3-ball way better this year. So now, coming into the summer, all right, I shoot one or two threes a game. Like, now let's shoot. Now let's work on not turning something down, or just keep getting my shot right, and just allow me to keep working on my ball handling, my floater, and just getting better at every step of the game, and taking my on the court weightlifting and strength and conditioning, taking that more serious than I did from year 1 to year 2.
You brought up 2 things that I was going to go to next: your floater and diet. So Nas's rookie year, he said the thing he couldn't get away from was Chipotle. Ant said he ate like trash.
Right.
So for you, what was the thing for you that you ate that you look back at it now, and I'm sure Dame gives you hell for, or one of the vets gives you hell for. So when you look back at your rookie year, what did you eat? You look at it now and you go, I can't do that anymore.
Should I still eat now? Man, probably burgers, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably burgers.
Okay.
Probably burgers, bro.
Okay.
Now I gotta, like, sort of limit it. I gotta be careful, because once I start eating them, like, I really, like, get to eating them like every day, and like, so now it's like, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like, all right, I gotta take care of my body, but I don't eat terrible, but I definitely, like,
you can find those spots to clean it up.
Yeah, for sure. It's year 3, and like, I want to take a big step. Like, I want to take a big step, and just keep proving everybody wrong. So, Yeah, that's my whole mindset behind that.
Okay, now the floater. Like you said, you're a 6'9" dude who's trying to get his body better. How the hell did you end up with a floater? Because I've never seen somebody with your build and the way you play. Like usually guys who have a handle like you get all the way to the rim. Yeah. But you get to the 8 to 10 foot spot. I haven't checked in like 2 weeks. But last time I checked, you were shooting like 64% on floaters, man. Where does that come from?
That's the thing. That's the thing. You notice how you just said a lot of guys with handle like me get to the rim. A lot of guys with a handle like me are also athletic enough to dunk on people at the rim. And
so this is the natural evolution. You don't have that balance, so you have that.
I don't. You know what I'm saying? I noticed at a young age, not at a young age, but in high school, I'm not the most athletic. It's like
did your brother get all the hops? Is that how that went?
No, he definitely didn't. No, he did. My dad played junior college. He didn't have hops. My brother played. He didn't have hops, and it's just a genetic thing. So, I started working on my floaters and stuff like in high school, like in 10th grade, in 9th grade, 10th grade and stuff. I would always just work on touch shots around the rim, like just touch shots, like probably like 100 touch shots, like just shooting floaters from trying to extend it, shooting floaters, and because when I played AAU, like in high school, I was able to dunk on people. Like I got a little bounce now. I don't get it. I caught a few bodies at summer league. I got a few bodies, but when I was in high school and stuff, I just always worked on it. So whenever the summer came around, I was able to finish over taller guys that was on the EYBL circuit, and I was able to just touch up, just use my touch, and it's all just having a good touch. Honestly, like I don't even know if I could really teach it. It's just sort of like a feel thing and a touch thing that I have.
It's really interesting because Drew, he's got his baby hooks, and he said the exact same thing when I asked him, like, where did that come from? And he's like, honestly, my coach just had me taking hook shots 100 a day. Yeah. And I just stayed after it and worked on it over and over and over again. But the difference is Drew's got bounce.
Facts.
So he can go in between.
Right. He can do that. Right. When I catch the ball in the pocket, it's not too many times I'm just about to go tear the rim down. Like I'm not doing that. I'll shoot the little floater and it'll kind of that's the same out of point.
Have you had any reactions from guys when you catch 4-on-3 and you hit them with that floater and they have no idea that's coming? Like has anybody said anything to you?
Yeah. Man, I've heard like I don't know. Like I've heard like people scream, "Hell no!" or I'll catch it and like bro, that's a comfortable shot for me. Like that's literally a layup. Like
they think that they did their job. They put you in a bad spot, right?
Yeah, like a lot of people like to give up their shot because it's sort of low. It's a low percentage shot, but I shoot it at a very high percentage.
Yeah, league average is about 40%. Like I said, you were shooting last I checked at 64%.
All right, I shoot a real high percentage. Like that's a shot that even my coaches, like Coach Scott Brooks, Chauncey, Roy, Mark, like they know that I'm going to.
They want you to get that shot.
Right. Yeah. Like they know that I'm going to do that. Like so, it's like all right. Now the defense knows I can shoot the floater a little bit under half. I mean, not a little bit under the free throw line. So now the low man has to step up, and now he got a guy cut. Now I got Shaden. Now I got Shaden above the rim because the low man stepped all the way up because he's scared I'm gonna shoot my floater. So easy.
Is there a spot anywhere on the backboard where you can lob it that Shaden can't get to it?
No spot. There's no spot. He makes. I don't even know if I'm a good lob thrower, but he makes my lob look good. Like, I don't even know if I'm a good lob thrower.
The first time you had him before Summer League, when he came in, and the first time you threw one up, what was your thought?
Before Summer League?
Yeah, when you guys came in to work together, before you guys had down there.
Man, I'm like, wow. What was the first? I threw one to him in Summer League practice, and I just remember I'm like, okay, like, all right. I'm like, all right, like. I like young fella. Like he gonna go get it. He always tells me like me and him got this connection now. Like, bro, you know if I'm cutting, like just throw it up there and I'm gonna go get it. Like so, easy.
I remember because we came in after your guys' first practice, and you had you told Sean and I that you kind of cocked your head and you're like, yeah, no, there's something there with his balance, and I was like, oh, let's see what it is. Let's see what it is. And I remember coming back for the day 2 of the practice, and you flat out said, yeah, no, he's a freak. He's a freak.
Shay's crazy.
We'll get you out of here on the other freak, the one that had 71 points last night. When you're on the floor watching that happen, what is going through your head, game plan wise, flow of an NBA game? Because the thing, when I asked you last night, have you ever seen anything like that? And you said no, because I've never seen somebody do that to grown ass men.
Right.
So when you're in the flow of that, are you aware of just how batshit crazy he's going?
Like yesterday, like it's a difference between his 40-point games and even his 50-point games. Like it's sort of a difference. Like last night was really like, damn, I felt bad for it. Like I felt bad for the Rockets. Like I sort of felt bad for him. Like I'm like, bro, like I feel bad for y'all because it's literally nothing y'all can do. Like it's nothing y'all can do. Like so when I was out there with him, like it was like 60. It was a jump ball between like somebody. It was a jump ball. Or maybe it was Matisse and someone else.
He like tried to get that back tip.
Yeah, it was like 4 minutes to go. And like he looked at me, he was like, I'm finna get 70 on their ass. I'm like, oh man. Then he got like 60. At this time he had like 64. Like he had already got his career. He tied his career high. So he's like, I'm finna get 70. Like I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna get the ball to you anyways. Like I'm getting it to you anyways. So go ahead. Like so. Just being out there in the hit with them, and last night was actually crazy. Like last night, I called my parents after the game, and I was like they were like they felt like they were like watching like Kobe play again, like it was one of them performances, and I just I even hit them up last night, and I was like, it's crazy. Like I know this ain't nothing new to you, but it's new to me. Like you know what I'm saying, and I'm always like grateful to really be able to share the court with him and really be able to have a connection with him. And, he's like a brother to me now. So being able to really have that relationship with him, even off the court and on the court, our chemistry is good. Like, so it's crazy.
Listen, man, I've watched every second of his career. That last night was new to me.
Yeah.
That was different.
Yeah, man. I woke up thinking about it today. Like when I woke up, I'm like, man, he really had 71.
Man, I did 3 hours of the radio and I spent 2 hours doing it.
It's just crazy that it happened with me. Like it happened while I'm playing, while I'm in rotation, while I'm on the team with him. Like it's crazy.
I'm gonna get you out of here on this one because the picture from last night was incredible. He gets the ball, and it's not uncommon for him to pull it from deep, but he's in that groove, and it's right before the end of the second quarter, and he has done terrible things to Knicks that should be illegal in 37 states. And he crosses half court, 1-2, pull. And you just go, the second it leaves his hands.
Yeah.
What's that like for you in that moment?
Like you said, like, man, I feel bad. I feel bad for Knicks. Like, bro, what can you do? Like, what can you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just crazy. Like, it's crazy being out there with Dame. Like, and I could just tell his rhythm and how he was going, like, into the jump shot. Like, he sets it up he sets it up perfect. Like, he can just tell you, sort of rock you to sleep. He might dribble up slow and pull. Like, and I just knew the rhythm that he was in. The basketball guys weren't gonna let him miss that shot. Like that was one of those shots that was like, all right, he here tonight. Like, yeah, he really finna make a statement that night. And I just sort of, put my hands up and put my threes up, and he knocked it in.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you taking time. I don't want to cut any more of your time because I know you're probably getting dinner. Mason's probably over the corner chirping, saying get off that with him right now. So thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate you. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck for the rest of the season. And I'll see you guys back on Wednesday when you guys are back in town.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
All right. Hey, take care, guys. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do all the things, and we will